Maybe he'll die. Here with reaction to all of our top stories tonight, Fox News legal analyst, best-selling author Gregg Jarrett, and Harvard law professor, also a best-selling author, Alan Dershowitz. Professor, there's a lot of meat on that bone. I want to get your thoughts on all of it.
Well, first of all, there was clear reversible error today committed by the judge and by the prosecution under the reasoning of the recently reversed Harvey Weinstein case. So much information came out that was utterly irrelevant. Let's start with whether they had sex at all. Utterly irrelevant. The only issue is whether she threatened to expose him and whether she extorted him and whether he then paid money to avoid the embarrassment to his family, to his business, to his children, and, according to the prosecution, to help himself get reelected. The issue of what actually happened is utterly irrelevant. And then we get to the details, the silk pajamas, the kind of lotion he was wearing. I can't imagine how the Court of Appeals in New York that reversed the Harvey Weinstein conviction, which was a harder case to reverse, wouldn't reverse this conviction if it got up there. I would certainly recommend to the prosecutors in this case that they study the Weinstein case very carefully, because it gives a roadmap to what you can't do. And this prosecutor is just following the roadmap of what you can't do. And now the judge says, well, he didn't object enough. You know, in the Court of Appeals, they have a concept called chattering magpie. The courts warn lawyers, don't object too much. Object once, and then just keep quiet. Don't become a chattering magpie. And this judge then says, well, they didn't object enough. Yeah, they objected before. Yeah, they objected during. Yeah, they objected after. Yeah, they sought a dismissal and a mistrial. That's not good enough for me, Judge Marchand, because I'm going to convict this guy no matter what. And I'm certainly not going to give a mistrial, because if I get a mistrial, it may be tried before a different judge, and then my daughter won't make money off this case. This is such a corrupt case. From beginning to end, it's corrupt. And, you know, again, as somebody who doesn't care as much about politics, but who's devoted his life to the Constitution, this endangers everybody's rights, and every liberal, every conservative, every Trump supporter, every Biden supporter should be appalled by this case and should be complaining about how our Constitution is being weaponized in the interest of partisan politics.
You know, it's irrelevant, immaterial. Gregg Jarrett, get your take on today's events and the trial in general.
Well, Stormy Daniels was called to the witness stand for only one purpose, Sean, to slime Trump. But she's peddled so many conflicting stories. You know, you get whiplash on cross-examination, though. She withered. She was confronted with hard evidence that her motive was greed, hatred of Trump. So, you know, hopefully jurors saw her for what she is, a shakedown artist. It's her livelihood. And at one point, she unbelievably claimed, oh, I don't care about the money, only making my story public. Well, if that's true, why did you agree to remain silent in exchange for big bags of money? She is so clueless, she walked right into it today. And as witnesses go, I'd say she self-destructed. But the professor is right. None of what she had to say today was remotely relevant to any of the charges against Donald Trump. She had no knowledge. Prosecutors put her on the stand to vilify Trump with a salacious story, irrelevant, highly prejudicial, probative of nothing. And that is the legal standard that makes her testimony inadmissible. And any fair judge would not have allowed it. Unfortunately for Donald Trump, he's stuck with Juan Marchand as the judge.
And this is the problem. It'll be all smoke and all mirrors. And when the dust clears, you know, if there's a guilty verdict, I don't think Donald Trump can get a fair verdict in New York. By the time this case would be overturned, guess what, Professor? It's past the election. It's too late at that point.
And that's
do you agree with that? We have about 10 seconds
what
each.
the purpose was. Yeah, that's
Smear
exactly
him,
what
make
the
him look
goal
bad,
is, to get a
embarrass him.
conviction before appeal.
Yeah,
And
this probably
what they should be planning right now, is an expedited appeal to get it reversed before the election.
I agree with that. Can that happen, Gregg?
I'm not optimistic. 3 weeks into this trial, and there's still no evidence that Donald Trump committed any crimes. Nobody has testified that he was involved in the bookkeeping, which is the 34 criminal charges against him. This is an utterly absurd case.
Thank you both. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.